Good afternoon and welcome to the Infinity Workforce Solutions Fast Forward Roundtable discussion. Today is April the 13th, 2023, and our topic is very pertinent: work zone awareness and work zone safety. My name is Mark Ray, and I'll be hosting today's event. I have about 35 or more years with Frozen Food Express. Have worked multiple claims and training events around today's topic, work zone awareness. It's a huge issue in our industry. It's a hazardous condition that our drivers are all exposed to. And joining me today, our subject matter expert, Mr. Keith Long. Mr. Long will be going over, what is National Work Zone Awareness Week, presenting some data to detail exactly how big an issue it is out there. He's also going to cover some content if you're a client of Infinity Workforce that you can put out for your driving staff to get the word out on exactly how to get through and what is a work zone awareness. We also have a free trial for all, if you're not an existing customer, client, and I don't know if we got that poll we can pop up there. If you'd like to sign up, just pop a yes on there right now. It's a 30-day free trial. We also have a betterdrivingjobs.com if you'd like to participate that, and I'll give you another opportunity at the end of our webinar today, but just click a yes if you would like the demo. We'll get a hold of you. So with no further ado, I would like to go ahead and, this issue of work zones is not limited to daytime or nighttime. It's around the clock. It's weekdays, it's weekends, it's urban areas, it's rural areas. It causes delays, and it clearly upticks the concept of distracted driving that everybody is very well aware of. So next week we have Work Zone Awareness Week, and Keith, if you want to take over and walk us through next week's events, the data behind work zones, and what we can do to help our drivers better get through these work zones.
You bet. Thanks, Mark. So, next week is National Work Zone Awareness Week. And in general, right, we say nothing in this world is said to be certain except for death and taxes. I would also submit, and construction zones. It is that time of year again. Road crews are out, cones are up, and at this point, for 3.5 million U.S. workers that make their living by driving a truck, this means an increase in risk factors on the roadway and changing scenarios that, if you're not ready for, will be a surprise.
Yeah, just real quickly, I forgot to mention also, we've got our chat feature up. If you don't mind, plug into chat, tell us where you're calling in from and your name. We certainly would appreciate that.
So numbers, let's talk numbers, right? I'm a numbers guy, and the most recent available data from the FMCSA here, as you can see, is from 2020. And we're looking at right around 857 total work zone fatalities for the year of 2020, 244 of which involving a commercial motor vehicle, right? And to put on top of this, right, we're looking at that 857, but what we're all talking about is the additional injuries, right? Those that didn't pass in a work zone accident, but were forever changed for the rest of their lives, right? This is why this is important. That numbers like that should be a call to action for any carrier or any driver in the industry that makes their living this way, right? It's an onus that we all share.
So 244 commercial vehicle fatalities, that's almost a fatality per day.
That is
commercial truck drivers.
Absolutely.
Wow.
So some things to talk about is what we're already teaching, right? In general, it's important that we take time to teach our drivers about these work zones, what to look for, what to be ready for, and what to expect this time of year. What we're more than likely already teaching is to slow down and obey the signs and signals in construction zones. We know that workers may be present, the roads may narrow, and we should expect traffic congestion. But we should also talk about some other things, right? This time of year is when we start talking about construction, is when we start talking about road work happening. And then the rest of the year, we're not spending enough time talking about it. So if we spend, let's say, the other 9 months, right, not talking about road construction, then when it happens again, we're not ready, we're not prepared, we're not vigilant, and we're not, I guess, prepared for what we're coming up against. So it's important that this is a continuous conversation. It should be all year. So before driving, things that a driver can do is research their route, right? Check to see if road conditions have changed. Check to see if you're going to be coming up against construction on your route, whether that's a pre-planned route or you're putting that route together yourself. It's best to avoid construction areas if you can, and if you can't, exercise caution when going through them. And there are plenty of driver tools that are out there when planning our route that help us in that effort, right? Things like Waze, a good Rand McNally Truckers GPS, Google Maps even. If you get online and you plan that route ahead of time, you can see where you're going to come up against construction. And on top of that, we should also be factoring in the time of day that we might be encountering that. Obviously, construction at 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon is going to be much more of a delay and much more of a problem than it is, let's say, at 5 a.m. or at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, right? Eliminate distractions, and this is one, Mark, you and I have talked about, is that construction zones are for so many, and I don't know why, an opportunity to get that cell phone out and start engaging in distractions. If it's the speed limit that we slow down to, right? We're all used to that 55. Now we've gone from 75 to 55 miles an hour, and it's okay to get your cell phone out and start having those conversations, catching up on emails maybe. But it's not the time for it. And for a driver, it's important that they recognize that these things are going on around them, right? We would hope that our drivers aren't the culprits of this, but from that vantage point, from the spot that a driver sits in a truck, we should be recognizing the potential hazards around us, and specifically driver hazards, people who aren't on the road every day. So things like cell phones, food and drink distractions, right? When we talk about food and drink distractions, going down the road, eating a cheeseburger and jamming gears, statistically 3.6 times more likely to be involved in an accident with a simple food and drink distraction.
Yeah, just distractions compound the work zone hazard.
Correct.
One other comment. I know it's you say move over early. A lot of times you have a lot of changing lanes, and there's an old lane marking and there's a revised. It's hard to determine where your lane is.
Correct. And we're certain to see, right, bad judgment in those places. It's the best thing to do, right? Follow the signs and signals as you get into the construction zone. A lot of these areas, we're going to see that 2,500 or 2,000 feet before we enter the construction zone. Those warnings letting us know that things are changing in front of us. For a commercial driver that may be driving the same route every day or a similar route every week, that may be status quo. But when we're talking about, Johnny everyday driver, this may be a change that they weren't ready for, and we should be expecting bad decisions in these areas. But another thing that we see all too often, and I'm sure we've all encountered it on our route, is zipper merging, right? And zipper merging is not necessarily a bad thing. As a matter of fact, statistically, zipper merging works if executed correctly, right? We don't get a single lane stack, but that moving in, moving out is statistically supposed to work better. However, what we do see is people straddling that center line to prevent others from zipper merging. And all that does is create a hazard. All that does is create a scenario for an accident and a scenario for road rage incidents.
So our commercial drivers should have the expectation that the driving public is prone to distractions, specifically in slowdowns at work zones.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a better sense of comfort as we slow down, right? We feel more in control of our surroundings and ourselves. And in this day and age with cell phones in everybody's pocket, it's all too common for people to engage in distractions. So for us, right, what does our role look like? How do we change the narrative? Where do we come in, and how can we make a difference? Because that number, that 857 fatalities a year, is something we should all be working towards changing, something we should all be working towards reducing. And fun fact to that point is that number only goes up every year, right? If we look at 2019 was, I want to say, around 847. So that jump now to 857 it's a small amount, but any amount is bad, right? So we get more proactive. We train early and train often. As I said, we don't spend the rest of the year talking about construction, and we should. We should train around what to do in work zones, and it should be recurring as talks on any other road safety topic. Shouldn't just be when we're in that 5th season of the year, road construction. We know it's coming, so let's start talking about it before it happens. We're not sure what to talk about or how to tailor that message. We can lean on industry experts, right? There is plenty of information out there. Maybe you don't have the time to put together resources or training, and these organizations that are out there, one that we're going to talk about here specifically, they have what you need, right? So let's talk about national.
Just a quick comment on that, yeah. Keith. I was involved in a lawsuit a couple of years ago, and the plaintiff's attorney made a very effective argument that the safety supervisor had knowledge and expertise in the hazard of a work zone, but failed to exchange that information with his driver. And of course, they took the driver's deposition, asked the driver, were you ever presented any training or any awareness of work zone awareness? And his answer was no. And it was very effective in the court relative to the verdict. So as an industry practitioner, you have the information that work zones are hazards, and it's almost an obligation that you share that with your driving staffs. Absolutely.
And if you're not, right, a work zone accident might as well be a properly wrapped gift, right? Because it's
zeros get added to the verdict.
That's absolutely it. And quick, especially in this day and age, like we've talked about before, this is the age of nuclear verdicts.
Yes.
So National Work Zone Awareness Week. I know we talked about next week, April 17th through the 21st is National Work Zone Awareness Week. We also are mentioning here the organization National Work Zone Awareness Week. Right, so they started in 1997 with the Virginia DOT, and then hosting their first national event in 2020. From there on, over the past 23 years, Work Zone Awareness Week has grown and is now an annual event that takes place across the United States with partnerships between state departments of transportation, national road safety organizations, government agencies, private companies, and even individuals can join in and help. And the overall goal, right, is raising awareness around the risks of work zones and road construction, not only for people like us in the transportation industry, but as well as those that are in those work zones, right? So general awareness and safety. So the goal really here is to establish and promote those uniform safety tips and provide training that provides value and endless resources. And National Work Zone Awareness Week hits that on the head.
So it's a comprehensive. It's not just commercial vehicles. It's the workers on the side of the road with the shovels. It's the crane operators. It's the enforcement industry. It's all combined.
Correct. Absolutely. Right. We can't tackle this problem by only singling out one person. Right. We providing training to everybody, and all of us taking the opportunity to admit that we have an onus and reducing fatalities and injuries every year around work zones. That's where change comes in. And that's what National Work Zone Awareness Week is about. So if you go to nationalworkzoneawarenessweek.org, their participate page has a list of this year's events. And as you kind of scroll down the page here, it tells you what's going on this year per day, right? What the themes are. Every year does have a theme. We'll talk about this year's in a moment. But if you get down to the resources section, this is where partnership with different organizations has happened. And one we'll look at is the FMCSA's work zone safety and shareable material here, right? If you're a fan of one-page learners and handouts, here's pre-built stuff that you can print out and put around your terminals, put around for general awareness, for your drivers, send it, email it, right? Whatever your primary communication point is with those people, this information is here and it's there to help you, right? Statistics to put, binding facts to conviction. This is where that happens at.
Wow, there's a lot of National Safety Council. You got OSHA. You've got I don't know who mobile phone use, CDC. Everybody's involved in this.
NIOSH in there.
Federal Highway Administration. Yeah,
absolutely. And that's again where this comes in, right? It's that we all have an onus, and it is beneficial to every one of us to put in effort.
Well, anything that creates 44 was the number 44,000 accidents overall. That's cumulative per year. It's incredible.
Absolutely.
It's incredible. So the 19th is Go Orange Day, or was that's
that is correct.
Okay.
That
Go
is
Orange
correct.
Day. Okay.
So Go Orange Day, right? That's where we're all whether that's putting on our safety vest or orange shirt. I don't recommend orange tops and bottoms. That can be confusing, but wear orange, participate. It's about awareness.
So that'd be a good opportunity to walk around the office with your orange vest on. People ask, what do you got that on for? And I'm glad you asked.
Absolutely.
It also might not be a bad idea to take a photo to put in your file, so that if you have to take that nasty deposition that says you never did anything, you could say, well,
photo evidence right there, huh?
Yep, not quite so. Social media storm. That's just getting it out there on the social media. And then the moment of silence is for all the fatalities and people that have been injured in the work zone. So that's a fantastic lineup for next week.
Correct. So and all this information again is available on nwzaw.org. So there's a participate page, there's a resources page, but I highly recommend it. Right, this is by no means a paid promotion for anybody. This is just as general safety, general awareness. It's an opportunity that we all have and that we should all take advantage of. Every year they have a theme, right? We've probably all remember the Speed Kills theme that was I think that was 2018. But this year's I really enjoy. This is you play a role in work zone safety. Work with us. And if I'm being honest, looking over their past 20 years of themes, this one's my favorite because it really does bring to the table that important role that we all play in reducing work zone fatalities, be it road workers or vehicle operations or law enforcement, right? All of us have an opportunity to engage and reduce fatalities and injuries. So work with them if I'm saying it.
Yeah, and work with us. It goes two ways. Us could be, the guys with the shovels on the side of the road, but us is also the commercial trucks driving through and lighting at night. I mean, I've seen some crazy things from some dash cams that are just unbelievable. That's a great work with us is a pretty comprehensive statement.
Correct. And you're talking about that crazy things through construction zones. I don't know if I mentioned it there, but 37% of these work zone accidents and injuries are a result of speeding in construction zones. 37%, right? So we reduce speeding in construction zones. We've cut a significant portion out of that annual number. Right?
And our partners in the enforcement industry have doubled the fines, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. If you've got picked up a violation for speeding in a construction zone, those are CSA points that any driver and any company does not want to keep around, right? You don't want to get hit for those. But again, in general here, there's a lot that we can do. So.
And one thing we're not going to be able to do is stop construction. It's not going to stop anytime soon.
That's correct. And for some places, especially anybody that lives in the southern half of the states where it's warm enough all year to have construction, it absolutely does happen. A couple places come to mind. We were just talking about this earlier, right? Little Rock, and now Texarkana, Texas. I don't know if they'll ever stop, but plenty of places around the states that construction is a constant and theme for everybody.
One thing I've learned when you say, well, we've got some bad construction problems in Waco, Texas, somebody from California goes, oh, we got twice that big a problem out in San Bernardino, or everybody has the worst road construction problems, they say. So it's a nationwide reality, and bringing awareness is a very worthwhile investment of time and effort.
Right, absolutely. And there's plenty of things that you can be teaching about here, right? Speed and space management, communicating and signaling and intentions, right? Using those lights and signals to communicate where you're going to be, signaling early, getting in your right-of-way lane, everything that we should be teaching on that in general are basic safety principles that add more value than just road construction season, right? These topics go on and throughout the year and bleed into everything else that we do.
So Keith, how do I get this out to my driving staff? You sold me. Now what do I do?
Well, so one, we've got Work Zone Awareness Week. Go to the website, go to participate. There's content there. If you're using Infinity and you've got training that you want to put in front of your drivers, do so. I myself at Workaround Media, right here, the transportation nerd at Workaround Media, we design training content for the training industry, for safety sensitive industries. So we put together a training video this year, and anybody who wants to can reach out to us at workaroundmedia.com, hit us up on the contact page, and we've got a video ready for this year that we can get you aligned with, and you can add that into Infinity and assign it to your drivers. You can send that out to them via a link. That's up to you, but resources are there. We want to help because at the end of the day, it is important to all of us.
So workaroundmedia.com, the transportation nerd, you've got some content that you could help or help design and or develop content that could be assigned to the drivers this afternoon or tomorrow.
Correct. Absolutely. We've got subject matter experts, and we have the resources, we have the training in the background. And again, it comes down to a background in the industry, growing up in the industry, and having a passion for that, right? Because we all deserve to get home at the end of the day. And however we can further that, that's what we're here for.
and I found with all the drivers I've talked to, when you talk work zone, you get a reaction immediately. They all understand or want to further their understanding of the hazards at work zones and what they can do and what they have seen and done. So it's a really good topic.
Correct.
Okay. Did you have an example of some content, or you just want to get your name out there, Keith?
Well, we do have a training video that we put together. I mean, if we've got time on this that you want to do that, I can.
Yeah, if you don't mind, let's go ahead and do that. And I want to make sure we offer the free trial again here in a few minutes and get some feedback. But if you've got that queued up,
Yep, absolutely.
while we're waiting, if anybody's got any questions or comments, please feel free to chime in on chat or the Q&A.
All right, let's see here. Minimize that. All right, see my screen there?
Yep, take your time and save lives.
All right, so we'll kick it off. Hopefully that audio works here. Give me a big thumbs down if it doesn't. But
your livelihood is transportation. Day in, day out, you're on the move, navigating roadways to make sure we all have what we need to live. However, this time of year, those roadways may look a little different, and they may change from week to week. As a matter of fact, they may even change right in front of you. That's right, it's construction season. The cones are up, the workers are out, and change may be around the next corner. Did you know that on average, there are 850 work zone traffic fatalities a year? That's 850 people that didn't get to go home, and that number only keeps going up. In these accidents, speeding is a major contributing factor, 37% of the time. You know the dangers. You're out there, and you can make a difference. You don't have to be a statistic. So this year, this roadwork season, let's pump the brakes, slow down, look farther ahead, and signal early. Remember, while driving may be status quo for you, construction and changing roadways may come as a surprise to others who don't encounter it every day. So plan ahead, take your time, and save lives. Only together can we reduce work zone fatalities and make our roadways safer for all who travel them.
Wow, that's very well done, Keith.
thank you. It's like I said, it's what we like doing, and it's where our passion is.
And if somebody wanted to get a copy of that, do you got your contact again?
Yep, that I do. Let me pop that back up here.
Transportation nerd.
That's us, and you can get us there at that Gmail address. You can also reach out at workaroundmedia.com and get a hold of us there on the contact form. Like I said, this is we've got a special that we put together with this video this year for Work Zone Awareness Week, but we also do custom content, and would be happy to work with either your subject matter experts, or we'll bring ours, and we'll even be on camera. So
Fantastic.
let us know how we can help.
And obviously the platform we want to make sure is available is the Infinity Workforce Learning System.
That is correct.
Absolutely the
correct.
best out there on the market. And if one more time, if you would like here's the free demo. Keith, thank you very much for all that information, sharing that content, custom content that you developed, telling us about National Work Zone Awareness Week, how big an issue it is. Over 857 fatalities per year. I'm going to get my orange vest out on Wednesday and get out there and do a little promotion work myself. It's a huge issue, and it's something that you as a transportation professional need to relay to your driving staff. And this is obviously a way to do that. Like I said, I've been involved in multiple lawsuits. I can tell you from a plaintiff's point of view, commercial truck involved in a wreck in a work zone, it's always going to be the commercial truck's fault because they're big. And we got to be able to protect ourselves from those nuclear verdicts. So if you'd like to sign up for the free demo, just click a yes right there. We also have the betterdrivingjobs.com. Simply check yes, and we will get back in touch with you there. Keith, if there are any, does anyone have any other questions, or are we good to move on? I think we'll be discussing road check coming up in May. It's right around the corner. The emphasis this year will be cargo securement and ABS lights, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
And it's not too early to start preparing for that. So I want to thank everybody again. Thank you again, Mr. Keith Long, transportation nerd at gmail.com.
That's the guy.
We will see you next month as we begin to prepare for CVSA road check.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. And I got my orange vest. I'll have that on Wednesday. I might wear it all week. You've got me convinced it's that big an issue.
We'll see you there.
Okay. Thank you, sir.